winners of 3 as a 6-year-old, so you can knock her a little bit, but she's been facing much tougher than anybody in this field. And last start, the 14 lengths she was beaten in that 39-3. That number is generally good enough if she repeats that number to be right here today in a 75 claimer. Time before, though, over at Belterra, she made all the pace to be second, beating a length. A 15-9-3 is comparable to a 75 here, maybe even a nickel. So that race isn't really tough across the river, but prior to that, she's faced stiff competition here last winter and held her own in those first-level allowance races. So one lovely storm on the class strap. She's a winner over the track. I'm going to give her a slight edge here in the opener. Number 6, My Girl Rocket, was claimed last start at Churchill. That was back in November, though, for $7,500 as a non-3. Again, she was facing open company. She hasn't raced since then. But what I like about it, Wes Fletcher, when he brings her back to the races, whatever the reasoning she was off, she's out of jail. She's not required to raise 25% anymore. He could have jammed her in for the $5,000 level instead of the 75. But My Girl Rocket, yeah, she's definitely in with a chance. And any of those races on her form puts her right here. I mean, she's 10 for 18 in the money, a 2-time winner now. She's never raced on the synthetic, but she has shown affinity for the dirt and turf. So versatile sort. She can close. She can go wire to wire. She's done both. In fact, at 3 starts back, she rallied from off the pace. Dominant winner at Indiana in that 10 non-2 level. That was a sprint race on the turf. Prior to that, she went wire to wire, and that was on the slop. So versatile sort, My Girl Rocket. A lot of upside, 7-2 on the morning line. Number 8, Christian Miss, is an Indiana bred, making the 3rd start for the Cahill barn. She's had a pair of second-place finishes here, as she's been the bridesmaid in each of her last 2 starts. And I think this is one that will be a pace presence, and Sammy Bermudez up for owner Morgan Bermudez. So house horse number 8, Christian Miss, for the Bermudez family. They look to get the 3rd lifetime victory for Christian Miss, who is a Indiana bred, at 4-1 on the morning line. Now, race number 2 starts the 50-cent pick 4 every night. Pick 4's paid pretty good last night, and I expect the same tonight. Now, the maiden 75 claimer to go a mile will kick it off in race number 2. There's a scratch of the 1 and 2, and be aware the also eligibles, number 13 and 14, both of those have drawn in and will race. Now, this race, I'm basically between 2 horses. I think either one of them can win, and I end up going number 3 at King's Ransom. Comes from a very good barn. Dane Kabisky sends us out for his longtime owner, PTK, and this is the son of Regal Ransom. Gets a 7-pound break in weight with Virginia Tormey. Now, this one was 4th, well-beaten last start, but the winner ran off by better than 5 lengths, and the horse that was second ran off better than 4. Now, those horses have came back and won since, and on the class strap, I think this horse is just a touch better for me here in race number 2 than my second choice, which is number 6, Ice Chest. This one comes to the barn of Pat Huffman. This one has basically lost all chance at the start in both of his career races. You'll see on debut, he was bothered at the start, was way out at the back of the course. That was going to sprint distance. He rallied from 11th and closed into 5th, galloped out real good. That was a pretty good field. Unveiling won it that day. And in fact, I believe 4 or 5 horses out of that maiden race has came back and win. So kind of a key maiden race, even though it was a 5-claimer, it was a solid race. So, off that performance, they thought the horse may need some more ground. The way he ran and the way he closed, they elected to run him back at a mile distance. Yet again, bothered at the start. Now, came running again and showed some grit and was 3rd, beating 11 lengths that day. Now, they've changed jockeys, went to the leading rider, Alvin Jimenez, and Ice Chest for the Huffman barn is 6-1, my second choice in race 2. Number 11, Slick as a Pin, broke his maiden, but was DQ'd in his last start for drifting out and interfering with Toronto and Johnny McKee that day. This one was 60-1. You'll get nowhere near that today, as his first poly track first poly performance was a good one, but unfortunately was DQ'd for the McLeans and Corrigan. Slick as a Pin, 4-1, my third choice in race number 2, and that does start the pick 4, 14%. Take out. Now the single 6 has went out the last couple of race nights here. The single 6 is a 20-cent jackpot wager. I think Thursday night it went out for a tune of over $19,000. Last night it paid somewhere around $3,600, I believe. But it's a 20-cent base bet starting here in race 3 and the final 6 races on the card. I'm going to go very short in the sequence here. In the pick 5s, pick 4s, I'm only going to use a couple of horses. You could add a couple. We'll speak on those. But my top pick in here, narrowly is number 4, Frills. Now, she's a daughter of Candy Ride, who's been second in each of her 2 trips over this local poly surface. Her 2-back on poly debut, she was just off the pace, made an early move, but she hopped at the start and did close on well to falter late with second, beaten 5 lengths, came back. She was the favorite last start on New Year's Day, and she kind of made an early move yet again and ended up second as the beaten favorite. Loving Moment, we'll see her later on tonight in a allowance race, but been keeping good company, a pair of second place finishes over this racetrack. I'm going to give her a slight edge over a horse who has not raced yet, but who I actually myself watched work here in the morning just a couple of weeks ago, and then again about a week ago. I think it was a week ago Saturday, and that's number 8, Barracuda. This one worked a very good work here back on January 11th, and that work was 102-1. That was a gate breeze, so they broke in the 6 furlong chute and breezed to just inside the turn here to the 8th pole, but the horse galloped out pretty good. What I liked about that, the horse that she worked with came here and ran in the stake, and that was a gelding making a stateside debut. Well, this horse that she worked with was on the lead on the engine here in the stake race last weekend and set some toward fractions, did box on very well, but ran a good race against much tougher than any in here, and Barracuda was head and head with him and actually galloped out very strongly. So off that work, excuse me, she has some good breeding. She's a daughter of Gradar. Of course, that was the Don Handicap winner for, I believe, Todd Pletcher. And she's thrown a couple of horses, 3 of them to race. One of those is a grade 3 second place finisher. So some good pedigree here. Barracuda 8-1. I think it's a must use. Gradar Offspring went at 15% on the synthetic. So Barracuda is a must use for me. Second choice in race 3. Now, also in there, we'll use number 10. I accidentally gave them guys the 11. Sorry, guys. But I'll go 4, 8, 10 here. Cinda is a daughter of Scat Daddy for the Ben Colebrook stable. Now this one is for his go-to owner, or longtime owner, Cheyenne Stables, Everett Dobson. Pair of 5th place finishes up at Saratoga. Now those 2-year-old races in the summer and fall can't get any tougher than those at Saratoga. And this one held her own up there. Last start was 5th, beaten 5 lengths. So Cinda is my third choice for 8-10 for me in race number 3. That does start the single 6. The 4th race is a claimant event for the fillies and mares, which have not won 2 races in the last 6 months. Race number 4, second leg of that single 6, only scratched the also eligible in there. And this is a race I thought maybe you'll need to spread a little bit, as my top pick in here is 12-1 on the morning line. That's number 8, Archie's Girl. Cipriano Contreras, always dangerous. He had the winner last night on the card that upset the apple cart, and I pretty much made all those exotic races pay, and of course the pick 5 come back. But Archie's Girl, it's a 7-year-old daughter by Arch. She's an Indiana bred, but she's a 12-time winner from 49 starts, 27 for 49 in the money. Made over $200,000, never raced on the synthetic, but she's a 9-time winner at the distance, and I think she'll sit a good trip here. I think there's a ton of speed in here, and I think she'll come rolling late. And coming off that deep, heavy track at Mahoney Valley, we see the same kind of trend last night with a horse named, I believe, Leo from the Cipriano barn. So I think this one will sit and stalk and close in down the center with the Bug Boy, who's riding very well at the meeting. Archie's Girl, 12-1 for me, top pick. Now, for second, I'm going to go with another bit of a price horse. That's number 9, Rule Like Cleopatra. She's 8-1 on the morning line, and she's almost a 50% winner here at Turfway. She's 11 wins from 23 starts right here over this local service, 19 for 23 in the money. And last race, she sat in behind a trio of horses and checked down the backside into the far turn, and when the running started, she was just choked out and didn't have anything left. So they've elected to switch riders and put the Bug Boy on today, and Rule Like Cleopatra, in search of her 18th lifetime victory, is my second choice. For third, I'm going to go for number 2, Drama Run. First off the claim here for Z-Handler Wishmeyer, Rob Ewing, and also Rob Z-Handler. Now, this one was claimed for $5,000 when making the local Turfway debut. Has raced on the synthetic, though, successfully. Has 4 wins from 14 starts. And Drama Run, I think with that inside position, I think she has to go a little bit. I don't think she can get too far back. She'll have to use that inside to her advantage. And speed in the inside played very good last night. Similar weather, so I look for it to be okay tonight as well. She's 6-1, so I'm going 12-1 over 8-1 over 6-1 as my top 3 picks in the 4th race. Halfway through the card, we'll go on to race number 5 that starts the 50-cent pick 4, non-3 5-claimers to go 1 mile. And in the 5th race, this is a spread race for me. You're playing the pick 5, you're ending here, you want to be right. I want you to punch as many buttons as possible that your budget will allow you, because this is a race that anybody can win. I went for number 7, Colombiano, because I think he needs more ground than he's been running. I think this route distance of a mile will suit him very well. And last start, he was the best horse. Now, the horse was in trouble through the lane, and the jockey claimed foul, but they took no action, as it was pretty much, to put it bluntly, it was his fault, not the horse he claimed against. But Colombiano was the best horse last start, stretches out to the mile, and I think it should be a rider's race here. I don't know that there's a lot of speed in here, but I think Colombiano on the stretch out will go. Miranda's a very good speed rider, and he recognizes pace very well. So I'm putting that one on top for that reason. Number 11, 139, is 12-1 on the morning line. This is one I think will benefit from a trip over the track, and also one that it will benefit from stretching out. Raced here going 6.5 furlongs back on January 3rd when coming in off the shelf, and it ran well with 6 beaten 4 lengths, but that wasn't his distance. This route distance would be more suitable. 12-1 trip over the track. I like that angle on the 11, 139. For third, I'm going to go for number 9, Grey Donovan. Rider switch here. I like to switch here to Leandro Gonçalves. This one is another one that came off the shelf. About a 4-month layoff there for Grey Donovan back on New Year's Day, where he made all the pace and faltered to be second, beaten 4 1/4 lengths. I think he's the main threat to my top pick as the speed to go out there, and just hope they didn't burn each other up. So, but I did use number 11, 139, because I think that one will sit and stalk and come running. But 7, 11, 9 for me in race 5, and I think you need to spread in that pick 5. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a little pause for the cause here, as we ask that you please rise, kindly remove your caps, as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Turfway Park. The windows are open. We have 8 races on the card for you tonight. Polytrack is fast. You'll take out those programs. I'll give you tonight's late program changes. First race up in 24 minutes. Kicks off the 50-cent pick 5 with that big carryover. And in that race, number 2 sanctuary spot is a change of jockey to Victor Baylon. Victor Baylon rides the 2, waive the apprenticeship allowance, and correct it to 121 pounds. Scratch number 9, Lady Voodoo. Number 9, Lady Voodoo stayed home. Race number 2, start of the early pick 4, several changes. Scratch number 1, Cherokee Hawk. Scratch 2, Loud Brand. Jockey change on 12 to Luan Machado. And be aware that the 13-14 will play. 13 and 14 draw in, they will run. No changes in the third. If you'll turn to the 4th race. In the 4th race, scratch number 13, Will and Grace. Race 4-13 is out. Same in the 5th race. Take out the also eligibles. 5th race, scratch number 13, Nautical Legacy, and scratch number 14, Obtained, out of race 5. In the 6th race, scratch number 1, Holy Cookie. Overweight for number 8, Jewel Lisa. That rider is 3 pounds over the assigned weight. In the 7th race, jockey change on the 1A, Speedy Solution, and Alex Ashard picks up Speedy Solution in race 7. Scratch number 6, Genevieve Ziva. Scratch number 7, Ascender. Eighth race, scratch number 1, Boots and Battle, and scratch the AE's 13, Lady Ruby, and 14, Promised Fame, scratch from the 8th. Those are the changes at this time. Any additional changes coming out throughout the balance of the card, I'll get those to you as they do so. Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Turfway Park. Prior to the break and the Pegasus and then the Anthem, we went through the first 5 races on the card. We went through that pick 5, 50-cent pick 5. If you're just coming into the track tonight, we have a sizable carryover, just around $25,000 up for grabs, free money in that pick 5. Of course, the pool will be probably at least triple that when it's all said and done. Now, we'll take a look in the final pick 3 on the card. That's race number 6 kicking it off. It's a filly and mare 2 cents at 8 claiming race to go a mile. And my top pick in here is a horse that loves Turfway Park, just like I do, number 3, Sour Peach. She's a 6-year-old mare by Hold Me Back. And she's a 4-time winner from 12 starts here at the track, and she is 9 for 12 in the money. And this one is making a drop in class. She was 3rd, beaten 4 lengths to a good horse from the Ron Brown stable last start, Katie Chris. And time before that was 4th behind Flirty for the 12-5 level at December 21st here at Turfway. So she's always right there. She takes a drop in class, and that's a huge edge here for Sour Peach at 6-1. Now for second, I'm going to go for another horse who relishes the course. That's number 11, Prom Theme. Of course, she's 11 years old, but she just keeps on trucking, and she's a 10-time winner from 42 starts, 28 for 42 in the money. She loves the synthetic. She loves the distance. She's drawn well in here to the outside, and she gets a break in weight with a Bug Boy. And even better, she's 12-1 on the morning line. So in this race, my top 2 picks, I'm going 6-1 over 12-1. And then I'll throw in number 7, Nook, who's 7-2, second choice on the morning line. She stretched out last start here at Turfway when making the Poly debut, and she romped. She was in front and just kept going and going and drew away by 6. That was her 4th synthetic victory. She's earned over $100,000 on the synthetic. Now, the only reason I probably didn't pick her a little higher because those other 2 horses love the track. They're taking class drops, and plus Nook is switching barns here. Don Campbell taking nothing away from him, is taking over the training for the first time in Nook. So he just recently acquired this horse. But Nook, I think she fits okay. I just think the other two horses like the track. And on the class drop on Sour Peach, I think she's much better. 3-11-7 for me. Seventh race, I think, is the free space of the night in your single six and your pick fours. And that'll be the entry of number 1 Enchanting Kitten and the 1A Speedy Solution. I think either horse can win. I think Speedy Solution is the better of the two, in my opinion. She should have won last time. She got a not the best ride from the jock last start, and gets Alex Achard today, who doesn't ride a whole lot around here, but he does win. He's a very capable rider, and he's worked a bunch of horses for Wesley, and he's getting a chance here as Speedy Solution draws in off the also. And I think if ridden correctly, she will win. Speedy Solution, just a slight edge over her stablemate Enchanting Kitten. Both of those horses should have no problem with this field. I'm going to single both of them here, take 2 for 1 in 7-5, and move on to the next race. But number 4, Macabre. This one was a winner last start for G. Watts Humphrey Jr. and Matt Martinez. She's a very good filly, well bred too, by a hard spun out of a Mr. Greeley mare. Now she's earned almost $100,000 in her 12 race career. She's 1 win, but a bunch of third place finishes. In fact, 6 third place finishes, and she will be rolling. She'll be flying down the center of the course. If some strange reason Speedy Solution and her stablemate hook up or gets pressed by Time Warp, in fact, if they run into a speed duel, that's the horse that can come run them down. But I think Macabre's going to be second best today behind that entry. And then the third, number 8, Loving Moment. We talked about her earlier as we picked Frills, who ran in behind her in the earlier maiden race. But she made her poly debut last start here on January 1st and loved the track, ran off and won well. So she moves up to the first level allowance race here for Kay and Eric Reed, and Sonny Leone back in the tack 5-1. My third choice, 1-4-8 for me. 8th race is a filly and mare non-3 claimant event. $5,000 claimers to close it out. They'll go a mile. And in this race, I'm going with Cipriano. We talked about him earlier with the horse we picked. He actually won a stake race today at Oaklawn with a horse that was third in a stake here. He won the 5th season with Guess Sweet. Guess Sweet was third here in a stake event back on New Year's Eve, I believe, and won today. So Sippy had a winner last night. I think he's got a winner early on the card. His barn's clicking very well right now, and when he's hot, he stays hot, and I want to be on board. So number 5, My Aunt Tilly, 5-1. I'm going to throw the last race out and gets a break in weight tonight, and My Aunt Tilly, my top pick at 5-1. For second, number 3, New Appeal. 1 and 2 in here for Kim Hammond. I'm going to use those second and third. New Appeal, I like a little bit better. This class drop in number 2 Arian Race scares me. So number 3, New Appeal. Alex Achard takes over the reins, as Ramos is another angle that I like. Ramos opts to ride the Cipriano horse. Of course, he's riding much more for Sippy, and he's supposed to take the other horse, whether she's better or not. But New Appeal will come running. Alex is a capable rider, like I said. And number 2, Arian Ray, a daughter of Tapazar, also from the Hammond stable, but making a big class drop. And I'm going to use her third just because she has the class of the field. And I just don't know what to make of that last race. I know she got in a lot of trouble down the backside. You'll see Ecclebase short comment there, checked in the first turn and then down the backstretch as well. So she had a horrible trip, but she jams in for the 5 here. Time before she was 4th, beating 3 lengths for the 15 level. And I'm going to use her third at 3-1. I like the price on the 11 and the trainer a lot better. 11-3-2 for me in race 8. And race 8 does have that high 5. So 15 minutes to race 1 here at Turfway Park. Pick 5 starts in race 1. It's a 50-cent base bet. You want to get involved. There's free money already in the pool. Good luck.